XRP holders, Clarity Act secrets exposed. Hello, beautiful people. Shalom, moneymakers. Please read the disclaimer. So, our good friend Eleanor, we many times look at her reporting. She was in Washington and she gives us these nuggets from what exactly happened at the markup behind the scenes. I wanted to share it with you. We're going to get all the juicy insider exposures that we can get. But I want to start out before we get into what's going on with the everything that went in the banking committee. Right now, Polymarket is showing us that the odds of Clarity Act actually passing to law in 2026 is 67%. Now, for XRP holders, for crypto holders, I think this right now is a good percentage, right? It's not 80, 90%, but it's better than 33% or 20%, right? We're now at 67%. There still is some obstacles that need to be passed for the Clarity Act to pass the Senate. We'll see what happens with that. But just, maybe this video is evergreen but I want to talk about what's happening actually now. So there is some updates that the US and China have agreed to lower tariffs on some unspecified products to promote bilateral trade per China's Commerce Ministry. The statement confirmed China's plans to purchase US planes, and it said China would address US concerns on agriculture imports. So maybe we're getting to a better place with China. The president was there for the past few days, and we didn't get a huge tariff deal, but maybe it could happen down the line. So that is maybe a little bit, thought for positivity. So we have that. But on the flip side, Iran just announced it will charge tolls to use the Strait of Hormuz and block U.S. military vessels entirely. Iranian official Ibrahim Azizi posted that Iran has prepared a mechanism to control all traffic through the strait. Only commercial vessels cooperating with Iran will be allowed through. Fees will be charged for passive ships linked to U.S. Freedom Project will be blocked completely. So the tensions are rising, and we're going to find out this week what is going to happen with that. Are we going to see the U.S. and Israel resume the aggressiveness, the offensive, in order to potentially down the line get a better ceasefire and a better deal on the table? Or will they continue to put on financial pressure by closing the strait and using that as a tactic? We'll find out potentially this week. So now let's get to Eleanor and her article. If you don't know Eleanor, she's a journalist. She used to be on Fox News, but then she moved to Crypto America. And she wrote this article here about what happened behind the scenes. So let's go over it, okay? So I didn't want you guys to miss what happened here. So she says the fate of the crypto industry's most consequential piece of legislation hung in the balance Thursday morning as negotiations to secure Democratic support came down to the wire. So all of us were thinking, oh, it's a slam dunk. No, apparently it wasn't. 10 minutes into Senate Banking Committee's highly anticipated markup of the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act, a small group of lawmakers quietly finalized a deal that ultimately proposed the legislation forward with bipartisan support. A breakthrough many believe significantly improves its prospect as it moves to the Senate floor. The landmark bill, along with 7 standalone amendments, advanced out of the committee in a notable bipartisan 15-9 vote, with Senator Angela Alsobrooks, Democrat, and Ruben Galeo, Democrat, joining all Republicans on the panel to send the legislation to this full Senate. And we kind of knew that they were leaning that way, so that's not a big surprise. A welcome surprise for many who had spent the previous 24 hours bracing for a strictly partisan markup that could have complicated the Clarity Act's path forward. We went into the markup feeling somewhat defeated after learning Wednesday night that we're going to get the bipartisan support we wanted. We're not going to get the bipartisan, said Cody Carbone, CEO of Crypto and Trade Associations at the Digital Chamber. As Crypto in America reported, negotiations between committee Republicans and Democrats ended Wednesday night without a deal, despite both sides having made what source described as significant progress on establishing ethic guardrails for government officials, widely viewed as the primary obstacle to Democrats supporting the bill. However, talks stalled after discussions shifted to propose changes to the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act. If you remember, that had to do with developers, right? Legislation is designed to shield non-custodial software developers from prosecution under money transmitter laws that Republicans were unwilling to accept. The standoff continued into Thursday morning, including through a meeting of the committee's 5 pro-crypto Democrats, Senator Mark Warner, Catherine Cortez Masto, and Raphael Warnock, also Brooks and Galeo in Warner's office, where they discussed strategy before heading into the Senate office building at 10:30 a.m. hearing. Members are still hashing it out as late as 10:29. One banking staffer told Crypto in America it was pretty unbelievable. So to the last moment, they were wheeling and dealing, right? But it wasn't until after Banking Committee Chairman Tim Scott called the hearing to order that the winds began to shift. Largely unbeknownst to the packed hearing room of reporters, industry stakeholders, and administration officials whose attention was focused on the amendment drama unfolding on the dais. Much of the debate centered on which proposals would ultimately be allowed to receive votes after Scott initially ruled more than a dozen amendments from both Democrats and Republicans out of order due to administration and drafting errors. Back in the chamber of the hearing room, known as the ante room, a small bipartisan group of lawmakers, including Senator Tom Tillis, Cynthia Loomis, Elsa Brooks, and Galeo, hastily gathered to strike a last-minute deal aimed to salvaging the Democratic support. It was right after Ranking Member Elizabeth Warren's opening statement that we started getting more positive signals from the committee staff, telling us there was now a potential path to a deal. So we were very close to this not passing, right? Or not passing with a big majority. Carbone, whose team was communicating remotely with staffers during the hearing, told Crypto in America. After the compromise was struck, another staffer describes the scene unfolding as an ante-room as chaotic and unprecedented, with GOP aides handwriting draft statements and amendment language to reflect the agreed-upon changes, scrambling to print updated materials and rush them out to members in real time. They understand the importance of this, right? They know we don't have time. If this doesn't pass, we might never pass this. So people are on edge here, and the politicians and the staffers, they're on edge, the Republican ones. They really want this to get this done. It was one of the most interesting days of my Senate career, the staffer said. Ultimately, the deal agreed by the group included several strategic revisions to 5 proposed Loomis amendments, including one that removed language from Section 301 of the bill, referencing the Blockchain Regulatory Security Act in Section 604. The move has since raised concern among some DeFi advocates who say the change could strip out critical protection for the software developers if it moves forward. Other key revisions include edits authorizing banks and credit unions to engage in digital asset activities, a small tweak relating to tokenization, a ban on insider trading involving ancillary assets, and language preserving state consumer protection laws. All of the new amendments were added back into the voting lineup at Scott's direction and ultimately passed with bipartisan support, helping secure key votes from Galeo and Elsa Brooks, both of whom indicated their support remains contingent on further work being done on the bill, right? I want to be clear, my vote here does not guarantee a vote on the floor, Galeo said. We have many outstanding issues still to resolve. And this is one of the reasons why I think that the probability is only at 67%, and why the crypto market continues to sell off even today. And you can see XRP is back to 140 after it hit almost 150, 155, and Bitcoin was already at 82,000 and a half. Ethereum was at 2,400. Solana was already almost at 100, and it's at 86 right now. So these are the things that have the markets, and other stuff that we've talked about before in the last day and a half. Toughest and most critical of all coming to argument on ethic guardrails for elected officials. Still, Galeo told reporters after the hearing that the ethics deals was the 99-yard line, signaling that what could be a smoother path forward after weeks of rocky discussions over how to address President Trump's crypto dealings. Securing additional Democrat support from Warner, Cortez, Masto, and Warnock will likely depend on further negotiations aimed at addressing certain concerns from law enforcement groups, which argue portions of the bill could limit their ability to prosecute bad actors who exploit blockchain technology. After surviving one of the more chaotic markups in recent Senate Banking Committee memory, the bill will now be merged with text from the Senate Agriculture Committee before heading to the Senate floor with fresh momentum, and lawmakers and their staff can only hope fewer last-minute surprises. So this was a very intense, historic, one-of-a-kind markup there, with something that many people around the US, this was super duper important for them. Listen, many times when a bill goes through, it's important to people, especially if, let's say, if it's a farming bill or something, that has an effect on the livelihoods of people. But there's about, I don't remember the exact number. It's more than 50 million Americans own crypto, if I remember correctly, right? So a significant amount of Americans have a touch on this, right? It's important to them. And of course, all the crypto investors around the world. So this was a very important thing. And of course, when the president makes this as one of his priorities, it's going to be a priority for the Republicans as well. And they want to have clarity, right? Again, one of the things against the crypto market was that it's the Wild West. There's no regulation. There's no this, there's no that. Well, now, hey, we're doing it. We're putting in regulation. Work with us. Okay. And so this is very important. And a lot of people were interested in this and what was potentially happening with the Clarity Act. So very interesting times ahead. What do you think? How much probability do you think the Clarity Act has for passing the Senate? Do you think it should be more than 67%? And what do you think about the craziness of that markup that happened? Do you think it was less crazy, more crazy? Do you think would be more wild? Let me know in the comment section down below. I just had an image in my head of Senator Warren. You don't want to know what I just saw. I'll let you imagine as well. Oh my God. Don't forget to smash the like button. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time after that comment. And like I always say, let's make a lot of money.